Well, hi YouTubers. Now, we've done this yesterday when I saw it yesterday, but my tripod on my camera broke, so I had to get a new one today. So, yesterday I saw Sully, Miracle in the Hudson, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Tom Hanks and Al Nightberg and Laura Linney. And, okay, first of all, I live near an airport. I remember when it happened in 2009. I was at work and one of my colleagues came in and went, a plane has come down in New York, and you just think terrorist. You can't help that. It's been 15 years since 9/11. You're like, what, terrorists? And I was like, no, a plane came down in New York City. I went, where would a plane come down? Central Park? And they're like, no, the Hudson. And I was like, the what? The river? Hudson River? Oh, for some reason we say River Thames, you say Hudson River. I don't know why. So, yeah, so I remember that quite. We were discussing that for a long time. You can't help it. When you live near an airport, it was the simple fact that 2,800 feet it ditched. Well, it was a forced water landing. There's never crashed a forced water landing. When you saw the clips, your heart was in your mouth. And this film was quite clever. It incorporates actual news footage of that day. If it doesn't actually have the same news footage, it reenacts it to perfection. And I will not fault this film for the water landing. So could it crash? It was a forced water landing. Okay, so it's, even if you watch it now on clips, it's incredible. So I am going to give this film a positive. First of all, I am going to say the water landing on the Hudson was some of the most beautifully detailed rendering I've ever seen of a true event. Oh, you were there. And the thing is, it is done by different perspectives. You see it from Captain Chesley Sullenberger's. In the entire film, though, he's only called Sully, even by his wife. I don't think anyone called him Chesley. And Jeffree Styles, played by Aaron Eckhart, you are positioned as if you were physically in the cockpit, like you're between these two gentlemen. You are along with them, and it was the tension in that confined space, making that split decision was incredible. You are as a passenger, you are physically alongside them. You see a typical day, these people, trying to get to their flights. It was just a normal, simple flight, and then less than a few minutes, everyone's life was radically different, but you are physically alongside with it. It shows the tension and the fear that a few I don't think anyone's actually captured before. There's been a slew of documentaries in the last 6 years. So I'm going to give Clint Eastwood props for that. And I didn't see it in 3D because I want to see a flight in 3D. I'll go in my garden after all. So I'm going to give him props just for that. However, sorry, just adjusting my angle. This film has a bit of a problem. Actually has two. First of all, it's grey. Now, my glasses are actually reaction lenses. If I go outside and it's bright, they literally do turn grey to protect my eyes. I'm photosensitive. This entire film was grey. I don't know why Clint Eastwood made the decision to make it this kind of cold palette, but it stripped the film of any kind of warmth. Sorry, I've got a bad foot. It stripped the film of any kind of warmth or any kind of, I don't know, elevation. That's probably the correct word. The film was stripped to that. It felt so cold at times. Now, I can understand the flashbacks being done in, a washed out palette, because they are flashbacks from seen from different people's point of view. That is always quite effective. But for the entire film, I felt dragged the film down. That moments of elevation or elation that you should have felt you didn't. There's a problem. And there's another one. Now, for some reason, this film needed a villain. Now, first of all, it didn't. This film did not need a villain. Okay? But for some reason, Clint Eastwood decided to give the film a villain, and that villain was the National Transport... Sorry, I'm really quite acronym. I have to make a note of this. The National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB. Okay? Sorry. I'll just do one more time. The NTSB were never the villains. And I have seen a lot of documentaries, and I knew this. From straight away, they knew the moment the decision was made about the ditching, they knew who made the right decision. Their job was to ascertain how it happened, why it happened, and to ensure safety of future passengers. Be honest, killing all the geese at the Guadalajara airport would probably be their first port of call, and if they did, kudos. They are made out to try to sully, to quote a documentary that I saw from YouTube last year. That never happened. They were, in his book it is mentioned that they were on his side straight away. He had various interviews with him. He had conversations with him. They made sure that he was okay to give these interviews. They were very, very sympathetic. The air traffic controller, who is seen in this film, he was interviewed too. The black box was found, well, never lost actually, and that was, you know, discussed, and everything was textbook, and they knew that. Their investigation took 18 months because they had to go off every single thing, and then make their decision. But they knew straight away, pretty much, that he made the right decision. So they didn't want to sully, and they admitted that in this fantastic documentary. There you go, documentary. So they didn't need to be the villains at all, and they were turned into, and it was a shame, because the real story of this film was kind of put aside for this kind of dramatization, and you know, it didn't need to. So I felt very disappointed by that. To me, it would have probably been done better in, you know, documentary style. It would have been done like show maybe Sully's early life, and then getting to that point where he's on the plane. It could have been done, open up like it was an interview, like tell us about yourself, Captain Sully. It could have been done a lot better than what it turned into. And thing is, I actually did some reading on this, and this has been mentioned several times, and even people can't figure out why Clint Eastwood did it, but the fact that he's a libertarian and he likes government departments to be villains and stuff. I don't know. So that is the only real letdown of this film. So it's a good story, but kind of the way I feel told wrong. And also, I've never been to New York, okay, but I understand the city skyline changes quite a bit, alright? Now, you think that amount of money going into this film, you think the amount of detail they put into the rendering of this film and the crash. Now, one thing I loved about the true story is how the city of New York came together to show what New York does best. So they got on with it. They had the people rescued from that plane, all of them within an hour. You know, over 1,000 people, the fire department, the police, the guys who just work on the river with the ferries. They came together. The helicopters, they got people off the plane. You know, and at that same time, that poor slub guy who works as the air traffic controller was taken to another room to give a statement, and he thought that he'd lost the flight. And the look on his face when he found out he hadn't, I thought was a nice moment in the film, because that's actually true. So, but the problem with this film is that it focuses on the wrong people at the wrong time, and also, okay, I've never been to New York, but I understand the city skyline quite well. Okay. 432 Park Avenue was only opened a few years ago. It's an ugly, ugly building in New York. Seriously, 432 Park Avenue is probably the most ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life in the city of New York. Okay? You know, it wasn't built to complement the rest of the city. It didn't have to be as big as it is. It's basically one that, you know, to the rich bastards of America or whatever. You know, look at us. We live in a Lego tower. It's horrible and it's ugly. And I believe it was probably only opened maybe 2 years ago. Unveiled. You see it quite a bit when you're seeing the skyline. Hey, you can't miss it. It looks like a massive finger. Yeah, if you're going to spend all that money putting the plane together, you could spend a bit of money raising that building. It was noticeable. But besides that, you know, I do recommend this film. Tom Hanks does a very good job as a representation of Captain Sullenberger, not the real Chessie Sullenberger. Laura Linney, his wife, is, you don't see as much as you need to kind of establish their relationship. I think she only appears in 3 scenes, and most of them are her giving him more courage. You never get to meet his daughters, which I thought was a shame, because, hey, their father, you know, pulled off a stunt like that. You never get to see their perspective on it. So, it focuses on the wrong people at the wrong times and makes a villain out of no one who really was. So, besides that though, capturing the isolation of a gentleman's mind after pulling off a feat like that, most successful forced water landing in history, in the Hudson River, in January, that can't be dismissed. So, but it could have been better than what it was. But anyway, thanks for watching, and above all, sign off and take care. Bye now.